Well, good morning. This is Dean Tenney. Welcome to my studio here in fabulous Las Vegas. Um, you're finding this on the YouTube channel, and something came up kind of unique, kind of kicked off this introduction to the Series 4 playlist. On the YouTube channel, all the playlists are organized on various series, and the Series 4 has been kind of a afterthought. I did a multiple option strategy lecture, and I called it a Series 4 and 9 because the lecture I thought was appropriate for those who may be seeking some help on the 9 and the 4 as well. And I was doing it anyways. And I also did a little short ditty, if you will, on synthetics. Did it quickly. I'll probably redo it because it was kind of something I just threw up there for 9s again and 4s. And then, based on that, I guess there's a real lack of things on YouTube for Series 4. And recently, I had somebody reach out for a tutoring session on the Series 4 on complex option strategies. And I'll be putting that lecture up here shortly. But we always on the playlist like to put, what is the test about? For example, when I got the request for this tutoring session, in the notes, he said he wanted to go over complex option strategies. And I took that to mean he wants to go over ratio rights and butterfly spreads and things like that, which is no problem. But I just want to remind him that there were lots of things on the Series 4 that aren't complex option strategies. And I can't tell you how many times people don't review the content outline about what you're going to be held accountable for and pay attention to the weighting of that. So that's what we do at the head of every playlist is we start with the content outline. And I've been remiss that I haven't actually put the thumbnail and the introduction to the Series 4 in the playlist. And so I'm correcting that today. I highly recommend, as you're a Series 4 test taker, Series 4 candidate, that you go to the FINRA website, you print the PDF, and use it as an intellectual inventory of what you're held accountable for. So this is that document. And here is the structure of the exam itself. The test writing gets together, and they come up with what they think is important to be a registered option principle. And so critical function 1 is supervising the opening of new option accounts, 21 performance opportunities. That's what I call test questions. Function 2, supervising option account activities, 25 questions. Function 3, supervising general options trading. So that's where you would find the strategies that you're held accountable for within that. And, your job as a Series 4, is to keep an eye on the 7s and the customers and make sure they have a kind of understanding. It's very negative, the risk. So it's a little different flavor on 4 in terms of strategies than it is as a Series 7 as a retail broker. So keep in mind that supervise. I joke, but it's kind of like babysitting. You're babysitting 7s and you're babysitting customers to a certain extent on understanding, option strategies that are informed and where we're, laying off risk or where we may be inadvertently taking risk we don't intend to. Function 5, implement practice and adhere to regulatory requirements. And function 6, supervise associated persons and personnel management activities, 28 questions. So again, in these content outlines, what I do as well on the playlist, it'll be quite a while. We've been just coming up on our 1-year anniversary on the channel. And most of them, the playlist have 3 components. They have a couple narrative, at least 2 or 3 narrative lectures. In Series 7, it's like 30, but narrative lectures, practice finals, if at least 1, but sometimes more than that. 7's our major kind of thing. We got like 3 there. And then an explication of this content outline. And so what I'll do, and if you've been with me, if you matriculated through the channel, you know that what I'll do is I'll go through this entire document at some point and explicate it and tell you what the test issues are. Now, in terms of how long you get to do this, you get 3 hours and 15 minutes. You shouldn't have a time constraint. You might run out of time, but you shouldn't run out of, right answers, or maybe run out of right answers, but not time, excuse me. And you have 10 experimental questions. So that's kind of an overview. And then let me tell you what I will be doing. Again, it'll be a while. I'm going to throw up the butterfly spread, excuse me, the butterfly spread lecture shortly, but it'll take me a while to get back to this. But what I'll do is I'll literally go through these functions and tell you, what are the test questions, For example, I'll open up the PDF and I'll add the anti-money laundering, the 3 stages, and I'll tell you what the 3 stages are, what the test questions are about, placement. And that's the easiest way to recognize and deal with a red flag like source of funds. Stage 2, I'll tell you about layering, and stage 3, I'll tell you about integration. I'll tell you about, CTRs and SARs and FinCEN and, all that kind of stuff. We'll just continue to build that up. If you're interested in what that looks like, you can go to the series 9. I've done the first part of the critical function there. I'm going to try and get the rest of that up shortly. And on the 24, I think I've done function 1 as well. For complete versions, you can look at the SIE, you can look at the series 7 and get an idea of what that looks like. So anyways, I hope you find these introductions to the series playlist helpful. And that's how the best way to use the channel is you go to your series, in this case, series 4. There's a playlist. It starts with this little introduction. And then there behind that will be content. Right now, I think there's a multiple options strategy lecture. There's a synthetic options lecture, and shortly there'll be a lecture on spread. So hope you find the channel helpful. If you do, like I say, there's not much viewership, and there's not a lot of opportunities for the channel in terms of audience on the 24s, the 9s, the 10s, the 4s. But, if we do a good job there, my assumption is, that you can send your, where the bulk of the viewership is, your SIEs, your 7s, your 66s to the channel where, there's some reliable content, trustworthy content, safe for work content. And that's kind of the idea here. So I'll post this shortly, and I'll see you for some more future series 4 content. Oh, that was the wrong one. Sorry.